Hey guys, Jeremy KJ7IAZ here, and today we're going to build a JPole antenna, and I'm going to build it with something cool. All right, so this is something I've been building some antennas with. It's pretty cool stuff. It's this copper tape. I've got a couple different sizes here, whatnot. It's inexpensive. Here's some 1-inch stuff. Today we're going to be using this 1/4-inch stuff. Now this stuff's pretty cool. You can use it for, electronics prototyping. It's just conductive tape is what it is. It's pretty thin. It's just copper foil, so you got to kind of take care as far as that goes. You're not going to hang this up between two trees and make a dipole with it. I guess you could, but maybe leave the backing on or something. But just get wire, it'll work better for that. But this is going to be kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a JPole antenna out of this stuff. It works really good to kind of demonstrate that stuff. You can build a JPole antenna any size for any frequency. I'll show you how to do that and calculate that. Of course, at some frequencies they get pretty much anything over 6 meters. They're going to be too cumbersome to actually make sense. There's other options out there that will work better, but a JPole is essentially just a half-wave antenna. I'll show you on a piece of paper what we're going to do. It's there's a lot of online calculators out there for these things, but you don't necessarily need one. I'm going to show you a way to just kind of get you close, then you can kind of fine-tune from there. Again, if you've watched this channel before, you know I'm not trying to give you a degree in electrical engineering or RF engineering in these videos. It's just kind of an introductory video to help get your mind going and hopefully introduce you to some of these concepts to start your journey on building your own antennas and stuff too. So it's a fun part of the hobby, and I really enjoy it, and I enjoy sharing with you guys. So if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. It's always nice to see. My channel is small enough to know when I get a new subscriber. It's always a good feeling to know somebody else sees some value in this stuff. It helps keep me going. That being said, let's look what a JPole actually is. Okay, so this ain't the greatest view or anything here. I might try to edit it in the, process it a little bit better so it's a little easier to see, or make a little diagram on the computer or something to pop up on the screen here. But anyway, in sense, a JPole is just a half wavelength end-fed antenna. The section that makes the J, and I'll show you that, is basically just the matching unit to get the end-fed to work. So you're basically a JPole. You're going to have a long leg, and it's not going to be to scale, a short leg. These will be connected at the bottom, and then they're going to have a feed point. I'll just call this the feed point somewhere in here. Now, this section is going to be 3/4 of a wavelength. Okay, so depending on what your frequency target is, this is going to be dependent. That's how you're going to figure this out. This is going to be 1/4 wavelength. Okay, which if you were to draw across here, this is your half wave up here. Okay, draw that for you. So this is your antenna. This is your matching section of it too. Now, as far as these dimensions go, this typically is going to make a square. So this distance here, I use a general rule of thumb, and I haven't really found a straight answer, and it doesn't seem to make a huge difference on the rest of this, but I use this as 10% of the 1/4 wavelength, 10% of a 1/4. So whatever I build this for, I just keep in the back of my head. So this is about a 10% difference. This is typically, it's going to be, I guess I can just say approximately equal to this. So this makes a square, essentially. That's a starting point. Now, as this moves up or down, it's going to change that feed point impedance. So your feed point is an adjustment point. You also have an adjustment point here. This can get moved up or down. You can shorten or lengthen this stub. You could even make this some sort of adjustable stub, a slider or something like that too, if you really wanted to get handy and make something kind of complicated that can tune in a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously the half wave, if you adjust this up and down too, it's going to make a difference. But these are kind of your adjustment points. And typically, if you measure this out, you can get close enough with just moving this a little bit. We attach this on and go from there. So when we make it with our copper tape, we need a place to put it. And I thought, you know what? For fun, you know, a lot of people have problems. They need a creative place to put an antenna. So with this stuff, you can put it just about anywhere. You know, I wouldn't put it on something that's metal or that's conductive because it's gonna, you know, screw up your stuff. But you could, for instance, put it on a window. You know, if you're making it, the one we're gonna make is gonna be for UHF. But you could just slap this tape onto a window. You know, if you're in a apartment building or something like that where you're up, that'd be a really good antenna. I also have an extra piece of vinyl fencing. This is what I'm going to use just for demonstration purposes. We'll put a UHF antenna right here. Now you could take it a step further on this stuff. You could get a piece of white electrical tape or get some hobby vinyl for, you know, cutting out stickers for car windows and stuff like that. You just get a chunk of that stuff and you could put it over top of this antenna to protect it. You have something that's completely hidden aside from the feed point. So for an HOA, it might be a really good option for somebody that needs an antenna somewhere that's just not a rubber duck. Maybe you have a home station, you don't want to drill a hole or do anything. You could put an antenna on your kitchen window and put a mobile rig underneath it and a short piece of wiring. You got a really clean install for inside the house. Just a lot of options. I'd love to hear what you guys come up with or what you think you can use it for. So put a comment down below on how you plan on using this, because these opportunities with this kind of stuff is endless, and I love to hear the feedback back from you guys on what you guys are actually making and using. That's, you know, the best part of this hobby is sharing some of these ideas. So with that, let's get to it. So the first step we need to do, I've got this cool app that I use. I actually made this and put it out on Google and whatnot, but I have some other videos on that. I go into antenna calculator, and we're gonna make this for 446 megahertz. Hit submit, gives me the different lengths. We're gonna go off of the quarter wavelength because we're working in quarters, so that's 0.55 feet. So 0.55 feet is 6.5 inches. So we'll go with that, and then we'll use 6.5 inches for our measurements. And start building this. So I want to measure this out. Normally I'm just doing this for the video's sake, but normally I would just measure this and cut these pieces, but I want to kind of draw this out so you guys can kind of see a little bit better too. So we'll just start at the top here somewhere. So I'm just going to make a mark, and this will be the top of our antenna. Of course, if I was trying to hide this, it wouldn't matter, I guess, if I was marking it or whatnot. But so we'll go down to 6.5 inches. That's 1/4. You can do the math if you want to. This isn't a exact science here, but 6.5, measure once, but demonstration purposes, I suppose. Okay, so then we want to go over from the bottom one this 10% of a quarter wave, so 0.6, so a little over a half an inch over. So we'll just put this down here and just estimate. So we'll go right about here. So then from there, we need to do another quarter up. So then we'll do our 6.5, measure backwards, 6.5. Of course, the quarter marks, it makes it easy to do. So our antenna is going to run from here to here, over and up. I should just draw this out since I got the marker, and it doesn't really matter. The lines aren't super straight, but so you're going to see this. Then our feed point is also going to be right here. So we're going to make a little square out of this, about that same width, about right here. And this is where we're going to have our feed point. So we'll connect our center conductor is going to be here on the long side. So I didn't make that. So this is the center conductor. So that's how that's going to work. And what we're going to use to put down on there is I've got some of these little clips. I got one tore apart here and bent, but you pop the things off, and we're going to solder this part of it so it's going to sit up like this, and then on our feed point we'll be able to just plug those things in. Makes it kind of easier to, we'll take it off if we want to. So you could solder the feed point directly to it and just have a pigtail, but I kind of like doing this. So we're going to measure out our piece here. Just use our reference, and nice thing is it just takes little scissors to cut these things. And the nice thing about this stuff is it is conductive on both sides, so when you stick it to itself, it passes the electricity through. So then we just need a couple pieces here. One piece there, I suppose, because our feed point's going to go across the other side. So I'm going to move this stuff out the way. Now, this stuff just peels and sticks, just like a sticker. So one of the ways I found that makes it a little easier, if I can get it started here, it is just copper foil with some adhesive on it, so it's pretty thin, so it kind of takes a knack to get going. So I like to just fold back the starting part of this thing and get it stuck down where I want it to go. And then a little tail started there, and then I can kind of lift it up and hold it in place, and then take the backing off and run my finger down it as I go. I'm already kind of feeling like I'm getting crooked, but of course my line's not super straight either, so I am. Yeah, so then I can kind of, oops, that's a good way to screw it up. Just backing off here, I guess, and then we'll just kind of layer down. Your mileage may vary, but we got a nice piece there. So then is what I'll do is I'll do the next longer piece here. Now you could see how this would get a little unwielding at 6 meters, but it would work. I'm going to try to keep that spacing as even as you can get it there. I'm a little off, but I think it's still going to be okay. Then we're going to put this, I don't know if I cut that long enough now. I'm going to make a new piece just to have a little bit longer piece to make sure I cover that up. And then that'll fit a little bit better across there. So I cut it for the gap and not including the 2/4 inch pieces. So, but we want to have that cover over there. And then just make this a nice little piece. Okay, now we just need our feed point. Cool thing about this stuff is you can solder with it. So I'm going to get my soldering iron warmed up. And then these things are kind of nice. You just kind of twist these things and they kind of come apart. And then pull off and you get the plastic piece off of them. Of course I say it's easy, but then I can't get this one off. Yeah, anyway, I'll work on getting those off and then we'll have those ready. Just show you this real quick. So I just grabbed a pair of pliers. It's a little easier if you grab a hold of it. You can get a hold of it and then you just twist these things, get them started, and then don't do that. Alright, well, off camera I broke several of these. Apparently the blue ones are harder to get off than the red ones, so I just grabbed another red one and just fold it that way. So then is what we do is we just take these and you can flatten them out too. It makes it a little easier, but as you're doing this, and then I just pull them up. Just kind of make a good, just bend in it. And then these will sit here. And here, and we'll solder those on. So what I like to do, I'll put a little dab of solder on here. Get this thing lit up. This is always kind of fun. Takes a little bit. These are nice. These are just butane soldering irons you can plug in. It doesn't really matter, but this stuff is, yeah, like I said earlier, it's solderable, so you can solder on it. So it kind of makes it kind of nice for all kinds of electronic projects and whatnot. But I'm going to set this, let this warm up. I'm going to get the solder on here, and I'll get a good shot of that for you. All right, we're all warmed up. I'm going to try to hopefully get this able to zoom in, but all I got to do is just do a little tinning on this. I'm going to be a little higher than my mark because I want this inside piece to be a square. So we're going to go a little bit higher, and ideally we would measure the heck out of this, but we're just going to put a little dab on here, and it solders super fast, as you would imagine. So then we're going to take one of our feed points. I'm trying to do this. Let's see, how do we want to do this so I can hold it like this. Okay, so then I'm going to just kind of lay this in here. Heat this up a little bit first. You'll see this isn't going to be a super strong connection, but it's tinned this a little bit to help it. It's hard to do with all this extra stuff going on here, but I got that. All right, that second one worked a lot better because I kind of had it figured out again. But yeah, so those are soldered on there. They're stuck to there. It's mechanically, it is what it is, but you'll see that this actually will kind of work a little bit. That's why I do these things, so you take them off, and then if you ever need to replace them or something, you can. But kind of a neat thing there. So feel free to make any sort of feed point that you feel necessary with what you got around. So I guess now I just need to finish my pigtail and get it connected and test it. All right, so we've got our pigtail. It just goes down to an SMA whatnot there. So I just got the little spade sides. So the center conductor is going to go to this side. That just plugs in, slides in, and then the shield side will go to the opposite side. Again, this isn't perfect by any means, but it works. And I could probably try to get those to slide in a little better, but and really you should go through and just maybe tape these down or something and see where your exact feed point is. But for this video, we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to get it close and show you the concept of it. So I just need to get my antenna analyzer, and we will measure this thing and see how we're doing. Okay, so I took the tabs off of this. Just it wasn't tuning real close with where I had it measured like I had promised. So don't put these on until you kind of have it tuned. You can use a piece of tape or something to hold it in there. I just kind of want to show you as I move this around what this will look like. So, and it's not perfect because I'm trying to do it for video, but if I get this on here, well, let's just start down here where I'm at. So it's resonant way low, so it's that's the square idea didn't. But if I come up a little bit, you'll see that if I can get that on here. You're looking at the yellow bar when it comes up. I'm having a hard time getting it to actually hold here, but yeah, there you go. So I kind of have it marked where I want. I'm going to go in and put this, depending on how close my hand is and stuff like that makes a difference too. So is what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up kind of have it marked where it was pretty good. going to solder that connection on there. I'll just leave the pigtail on, I think. Maybe I'll take these off. That should be easy enough and just move them up. But what you would do when you build yours, don't solder these on. Don't ever. You're going to put this thing in the position that you'll put this thing in where you want it to be, no matter what kind of JPole it is. If you make it out of copper pipe or anything, you'll put it there, make those adjustments. You can use hose clamps or tape or whatever to hold that there. Stand back at it where it's supposed to be when you're done and measure it, and that'll help you tune that for where it's at in its final spot. When we're making these videos, it's not always ideal. I'm trying to show you guys these concepts, so it'll be different. Your mileage will vary. That's why I'm showing you how to tune this. So I went ahead and I soldered these on right away. First mistake, as soon as I did it, the laws of ham radio, it was just destined for an issue. But what I'll do is I'll take those off and I'll kind of mark that. I'll hold it up there again and do it all off camera because it's a little easier with extra hands. And I'll find where that spot's a little bit more resonant when I'm standing back. This isn't where this is going to go, but I'll get it on there and then I'll show you the test results on that too. Okay, so I abandoned the tabs. I just took them off, heated them up, took them off. When I went to tune this a little bit, it was way off right there, so I kind of played around. I just ran the two conductors up and down on this thing here, just kind of hold them into place and kind of figure out where they need to be, and I marked it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back, I'm going to kind of abandon the tab idea. You guys kind of get the point. It'd be a cleaner install if you use that, but just for this, so I can show you. In fact, I'm going to let me grab my analyzer and I'll show you kind of what I did. So I'll show you kind of this here. So basically what I'm doing, I just got these ends and then I'll just get them to make contact and then I'll slide it up and down. When I do that, you can see on the analyzer, and I have the marker at 445, and you'll see if I can hold everything together how that adjusts a little bit there, and it's in and out, shaking and stuff, but so they get a good shot. So right there, and I move it a little bit. Oh, just keep sliding it off. I promise I'll get it there. Bend that a little bit better. Alright, so about right there. So when I come over and I look at this, I got a little mark there, a little burn mark, I guess is what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this back up here flat. I'm trying to get a shot of this for you. And right about here, we're just going to put a little solder down first. Just make a little bubble of solder. With this stuff, you just got to be super quick. Maybe tin this a little first and put her down and just touch it. Just get a little blob on there. And then you can come back with this and hold this down into here and oops, I didn't quite get that in there. And this braid is a little tougher because it okay, we got that. So then we'll get the center conductor to stick in here. A little easier because it's smaller stuff. As soon as it melts, I take it off. So now we got those both connected there. You could put a piece of tape or something, or zip tie, or whatever you need to do there. And then when we come back over to our analyzer, well, it's a little off right here, and I'll show you this because it'll show you. So we're laying on the desk right now, and it's looking about there. We're resonant super low. Now, you guys that have been doing this for a while, you'll know that it depends on where you put your stuff. And these camera views aren't all that great, but I'll try to do the best I can. Well, still not quite where it was when I was holding it, but I bet if I put my hand up here, try to hold all this stuff together here. If I move this, just kind of, yeah, so when I hold my hand, of course I can't get everything on there, but your hand and stuff's going to make a difference. So best way to do this would be to do it there. Of course I put it on there already, but we're going to be close enough anyway. And then kind of get away from it and measure it. Not the most perfect way to do this on video. I should probably have it a little bit more clear for you guys, but you get the point. This is, you know, copper tape, just a JPole, and it works. You know, we're at 1.6 right there. If I go to the resonant point, oops, I just flipped my analyzer off. It was like 1.2 on the lowest point on there, but it's yeah, it works good. You can play with this a little bit and build something yourself. Nice thing is that you could put this antenna on anything. You could put that on your windshield in your vehicle, just in the corner or something, you know, and have, you know, and just and have an antenna right there and not have to worry about it being outside or anything. If you have an HOA or someplace you don't want to, you know, have antenna, you could just use a fence, you know. You could put this on a piece of PVC pipe, put it up in the air. You could do, I mean, you're only limited by your imagination. So one thing I can do too is I could take a little bit off of here and a little bit off at the top, and that would make that frequency a little bit higher too. So that'll help too. And so you can tune here and here, and then you can tune here where this goes too. So you have some options and some tunability there. So quick little final tune. I took a little bit off, I don't know, 1/8 or 1/2 inch or 1/4 to 1/2 inch off the top from the same amount there. So it, you know, a little bit there. Left this the same, and then now I got the green line on it a little different. But the green line, it's showing 1.2 at 445 now. So I got that, and I get a little bit different graph there, but that's the kind of the final tune I got out of it. So there you have it. With a little bit of imagination and some copper tape, you can make an antenna out about anything. This stuff's, I mean, I think yeah, it was like $7 or $6 for the 2-pack of the stuff, and there's like 66 foot in each roll, so you could make a 40-meter dipole on the top of your vinyl fence if you wanted to, or whatever you wanted to do. I might try to do this and make like a 10-meter or some sort of HF JPole just for fun, and use some copper tape. That might be kind of a fun deal. But let me know how you use it. If you want to, you know, make comments on here, obviously like and subscribe to the video if you've made it this far. I'll also have a Facebook page under the same name, Ham Radio Insights on Facebook. You can get on there. That's a really fun place. You can kind of have a conversation. You know, you get on there, you can share your own pictures of your builds that you do, and we can converse a little bit more there too. Kind of fun. But anyway, thanks for watching, and enjoy, and go watch some of my other videos. 73s, this is KJ7IAZ for Ham Radio Insights.